look at alternative ways in which they can help cushion the impact of subsidy removal. In Edo State, one of such steps was taken, and many have employed that the government of Rivers State follows suit. Kwara State Governor also had ordered the same step to be taken in its state. In fact, the Kwara State government was the first to implement that. In Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, the governor, announced a reduction of working days for civil servants to 3 days a week. He says it is in a bid to ease the challenges currently faced by people due to the removal of petrol subsidy. Now, that comment many scrutinize and would say it means a lot. Some people have said, would that apply to lecturers, to teachers, to policemen, there are lots of people who work for the government who perhaps should also enjoy such benefit, if that's how you choose to see it. We spoke with an economist, and if you had listened to the news this morning, you would have heard the position of the economist on that step taken by several governments, two now. Many are saying the Rivers State government should be a part of it. But then the position of the economist on that was quite very different. He says, well, reducing the work days because of petrol subsidy removal would be counterproductive to the economy. He is a senior lecturer at the University of Port Harcourt, that's Mr. Orwell Atiga, was speaking with our correspondent and says if we continue this way, it might even lead to the economy shutting down. Well, before we implement such in Rivers State, we need to know how it is faring in Edo State. So I'll be speaking with my guest, who is a former Attorney General to the government of Edo State. Will be joining us on the show this morning. Is no other than former Attorney General and now National President of the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights in Edo State, Osagie Obayuwana. So you're welcome and good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
All right, thank you for joining
us.
Good
morning. It's a pleasure.
All right, so quickly, let's just get your thoughts on this. Everybody seemed to be some excited, some not very concerned when we heard the Edo State government also looking at reducing working days for civil servants to 3 days a week. So far, after that declaration was made by the governor of Edo State, that was since around the early parts of June. How is it looking like in Edo State at the moment? What is the reception to it? Does it have any impacts that we should be concerned about?
Well, perhaps I am not quite up to date. As it is right now, the details are not known yet. When is it going to take effect? And is it going to be the work week? Is it going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, en bloc? Or are we talking about work for one day, like Monday, take Tuesday off, work on Wednesday, take Thursday off, and then maybe work on Friday? But what we do know is that this is going to apply only to the public service, which is very limited. It will not extend to the private sector or the self-employed. There are professionals, there are artisans, there are the unemployed. When you combine all of these, they will constitute the vast majority. So, in terms of impact, it's going to be very limited. And I must say that we must look at this thing very critically from a cost-benefit analysis. What is being saved, other than maybe transport costs, which is being seen as a palliative? This has to be measured side by side with what is being lost. If you say people should work from home, I think that is just a boogie. How many civil servants have laptops? Where is the electricity with which they will work at home? Who is providing for data for them? So quite honestly, I think it's going to be a case of penny wise, pound foolish in terms of cost-benefit analysis.
So at the moment,
our biggest challenge, yes.
Go on.
Our biggest challenge, as far as being tagged under developed countries concerned, is a question of productivity. vis-a-vis the gross domestic product. As it is right now, how many of our over 200 million citizens are engaged in production of goods and services that we are even considering reducing those engaged in that process? What is the ratio of skilled Nigerians versus unskilled Nigerians as it relates to capacity to produce? So even if electricity and data is provided to those you say should work from home, how do you monitor their productivity? Other than just providing longer hours for them to sleep and be idle. So we are living in a nation where we say there are already too many holidays. If you remember, some states in the past gave up work on Fridays. According to them, it was to boost agriculture and food production. How well did that succeed? I don't think it did. You have talked about the scope. Obviously, it cannot extend to fire service, the police, the hospitals. Now, are we going to provide additional incentives to those who are excluded when they know that their fellow civil and public servants are resting at home and they have to continue to work the way they were? So it will be a disincentive even for those who have been exempted. Take, for instance, the judiciary. It's already been complained that justice delayed is justice denied. Are the courts going to be working 3 days a week too? How will this impact on the system of administration of justice? Not only for civil cases, but also for criminal cases. So people are going to spend longer time in custody, those who are supposed to be enjoying the privilege of bail. So at some point, you have to wonder from a cost-benefit analysis whether this really makes sense. I heard you say that the professional economists have told us that, look, it has the potential of even crashing the economy. So I just think it's a very lazy approach. It's a very lazy approach to the issue.
So quickly, in Edo State at the moment, despite that pronouncement made by the government, people still haven't had any idea which days they are going to work. So as it stands, everybody still goes to work Mondays to Sundays, Mondays to Fridays?
Yes. The policy hasn't taken off yet.
How are civil servants in Edo
Even
State?
the details have not been made known.
How are the civil servants reacting to this? How are the civil servants in Edo State reacting to this? In River State, for instance, the civil servants are saying that they do not want that. They do not want to work 3 days and then have 2 days to rest. In Edo State, is it the same situation?
Well, we haven't taken a sample of views, but quite honestly, I am speaking for myself. I don't think it makes any sense. If all that we are hoping to save is transport costs for people coming to work, but on the flip side, what are we losing? Right now, there is a lot of low morale, even in the civil service, and then for members of the public who are recipients of these services, you write a letter to a ministry, it takes forever for you to get a reply. Now, when you now talk about reducing the work week to 3 days, the civil service will grind to a halt. They are telling you to come back for a response to your letter, then you have to now fit that into those days that will be working. Like I said, I don't know right now that the days that will be involved. Is it going to be en bloc? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then you take Thursday and Friday off? Or do you work 1 day, take 1 day off, work another day, take another day off? To me, it just doesn't make sense. I think issues should be addressed at the root level.
The government already did not have a plan on ground for this before making the announcement. That is what it looks like if we were to make anything from what you've said.
I think it's a case of being a copycat. Kwara State has announced it, and some people think, those who follow it. Without this close scrutiny and application of the cost-benefit analysis.
The announcement also about 40,000 naira minimum wage in Edo State. And people were excited and say, oh, see what Edo State is doing. Other states should follow. We should do that. When you look at that in Edo State, the minimum wage is an issue because for this petrol subsidy issue, we've even had labor asking for increment in salaries. What is the implementation of the minimum wage like in Edo State at the moment?
Well, we know that there are. It was a welcome development. I think Mr. Governor announced that as part of the May Day celebrations. In fact, even before that, it was in realization of the fact that the minimum wage has become meaningless vis-a-vis the inflation rate. And so it gave a boost to the morale of workers. And don't forget too that we are talking about the lowliest paid. Although there have been agitations that proportionately those who are not at the minimum wage level should also get proportionate increases. There have been issues about that. But then, even with the 40,000 naira minimum wage, that does not match the inflation rate. From tomatoes to even pure water to minerals to food items. Once this fuel thing, well, of course, it has taken effect. Immediately it started, transport costs have doubled. The minimum wage was not doubled. So it's going to go around. Tenants who have landlords who have no other service to provide other than housing to tenants, they're also going to increase their rent. So at the end of the day, the whole thing is going to be spiral. And of course, there's no price control. So I'm suggesting that we should address this issue at the root level.
What would you recommend? What would you recommend to tackle the problem?
I think the challenge facing us as a nation, we must free our economy from foreign domination. Right now, Nigeria, with all its potentials, is still a pawn, as it was, in the hands of foreign manipulators. The way it was during colonial times, when we were producing raw materials like cocoa, rubber, cotton, for processing outside the country, and then re-importing as finished products. That's the way it has been with oil. So how can we have how many refineries? 4 or 5 refineries. We have our crude oil. We refuse to ensure that that crude oil is processed here into the different products in a way that will save all these export costs and refining costs outside. If our refineries were working, we don't need to raise the price of petrol. So where that is the case, the processing of oil by itself and other crude, other raw materials will provide jobs for our people, our graduates. The skill level, would be enhanced. And so it should be Nigeria first. But unfortunately, the kind of leadership that we have had have not been fundamental enough in their thinking to free our economy from this colonially induced foreign domination. I think that is the root level to which these issues, need to be addressed.
And then quickly,
already the public sector.
Go on.
Go ahead, please.
All right. I'm saying quickly because we have about 2 minutes before we let you go on with your day.
Yes,
for
please.
the Edo State government, many would wonder, it's been paying 40,000 naira minimum wage for a while now. And then with this subsidy issue removal and then the reduction in work days, the impact that could have in the IGRO of Edo State, which has not been, on a very high side in the past. Are these concerns? Do you see the government continuing with this or perhaps a change along the way? With regards to the 3 days
there is even talk because the governor wants to be seen as number one. There's even talk of possible increase even from the 40,000 naira minimum wage. Because he appreciates that even at that level, people are hardly coping. And without addressing this, the level of corruption of medications. There are those who are diabetics who must take their drugs every day. Since this fuel price has been increased now, the prices of medications have also multiplied. So when you pay salary that is not commensurate with the inflation rate, you take away productivity incentive to the work people. And like we said before, those in the public service and civil service, they are very limited. What programs is for those who are self-employed and even the unemployed?
All right.
So these are challenges. We need to take a look at these issues in a holistic manner and be resolved. Because as it is now, it's like we just appreciating the role of the trade unions.
Osagie,
as
we have to go for a short commercial now.
Sector capable.
Let's go for a commercial.
Yes,
Thank you
it's
very
all right.
much.
Forum of Umunra
Okay, please,
Umukamanu Omuma
guest still on the phone with us from Edo State, Benin capital. And he is a former Attorney General to the Edo State government and the National President of the Committee for Defense of Human Rights in Edo State, Osagie Obayuwana. Sir, thank you for staying with us.
A pleasure.
All right, just to wrap up the conversation with you quickly, is this. We're asking you about, you aired your thoughts as to what you think can solve this on a long term. But then, keeping up with this, the Edo State government, you said that the governor of Edo State has been thinking about increasing even the minimum wage. Can you tell us more about this? And then for the 3 days a week, if he's going to do that, do you think that the government would go through with the 3 days a week working days, looking at the fact that since the announcement, it has still not been implemented?
Well, I know the governor is committed to it. Ordinarily, views should have been sampled before that decision was taken. And I imagine that despite the fact that the pronouncement has been made, it's still a matter that is being hotly debated. Take, for instance, the informal sector. For a hairdresser who, not being assured of power supply, has to rely on the generator, or a welder, or a carpenter, So how does the 3-day work week bring relief to them? Clearly not. So that's why we believe that the issue should be addressed fundamentally. I know you threw in that jibe that is a long-term kind of solution, but a journey of 1,000 miles, will start from one step. So we should appreciate that the challenges that confront us are fundamental, and these issues should be addressed at the root level. Because with this mess now, the level of crime is going to increase. Those who have to resort to criminality to put food in their stomach, the cost of living. So would you
say that government allows the situation continues as it is? The subsidy has been removed, the price has gone up. I mean, this is not the first time price has gone up in the country and affected the economy of people, and then we do not have some, compensation alongside it. It wouldn't be the first time and might not be the last. So why this is very special, and we're going to see government looking at things to do. Would you say that everything allows to go on the way it is, and then we just live through it, instead of putting measures that, no matter how much measures we put, might not be able to satisfy everyone?
No, the remedy must match the ailment. That's why we are talking about the proper definition of the problem. Are we going to say, for instance, in another year or so, reduce the work day to 1 a week because we want to save workers of transport costs? It doesn't make sense. As you alluded to at the very beginning, the economists have told us that if we continue like this, our economy is going to grind to a halt. And that will just bring in anarchy.
All right, Mr. Osagie.
So we can't run away from addressing this issue fundamentally. 3-day work week in the public service or civil service is not the way forward.
All right.
We must think of solutions that are all embraced.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osagie.
And I think that is the point being made.
All right. Thank you very much for your time on the show. Have a great day to you. Thanks. All right. We heard that from a former Chief of Attorney General to Edo State government. The situation in Edo State and how it's been received, the 3 days and 2 days off for civil servants. We'll be speaking with the retired civil servant here in Rivers State, Dike Onyije, in a matter of a moment, to be getting in touch with him to tell us what his thoughts are with regards to this particular decision, and people calling for same to be implemented in Rivers State. Mr. Onyije was a director at the Ministry of Information here in Rivers State, and we'll get in touch with him now in a matter of a moment and get his thoughts on it. Meanwhile, let's get your own thoughts. Remember that we're streaming On Facebook and Twitter. On Facebook, it is Nigeria Info 92.3 PH. On Twitter, it's Nigeria Info PH. And we're asking you on Facebook, cushioning the cost of transportation for civil servants, would that be the best way to manage the economic impact of petrol subsidy? Remember, my guest from Edo State from Benin, has said that, well, we should also know that other people who are not civil servants are being affected. How do you intend to cushion the impact this would have on them? Is also a big question. 0817-923-0003 and 0817-923-0007 are the numbers to call. You can also ask your questions on WhatsApp or send in your contributions on WhatsApp. The number is 0809-030-6416. Quickly now, let's join second guest on the show. Mr. Onyije is on the line. Good morning to you, sir. All right, I think he got interrupted by the service provider. We'll try to get back in touch with him and continue with that conversation. But some of the comments on Facebook already, we've got quite a lot of them. Saturday Akpan says, what is it in maintaining our refineries? Politicians should know the difference between asset and liability. Another message here from Chima Ono says, that is far from the truth. How many Nigerians are employed? I can say that it is just a small fraction of the population. Salary increase will have no impact. It brings us to something the former governor had said in one of his recent broadcasts. So yes, all due respect to labor, but then the decisions of labor mostly is for workers. And we have many other people who are not workers, who are not in the government employment. What happens to them? Muriel is in Okrika. Good morning. Hello, Muriel. Good morning to you. Yes, go on.
Muriel, the African woman on the line. Actually, when I sit down and listen to our government, I wonder, who are the people that think for our governors? They have so many legal advisors, so many special advisors, and yet these are the plans and these are the ideas, the brightest ideas they can come up with. It is so disappointing to hear me. Look, I'm a civil servant, but I have neighbors, I have friends, I have sisters and brothers that are unemployed, that are private businessmen and women. They do legal small businesses to survive. So who speaks for them? So when you want to cushion the effect on civil servants, so what about the rest? Or the other people are they not your sons and daughters just because they fend for themselves? Look, I'm always an advocate of what is good for the goose is good for the gander. Now, if you want to cushion the effect, I always say, transportation is not reducing civil servants and work them. Look, where we come, look at the recent civil servants in all the states. Most of them don't even go to work every day. So, are you telling me that it's going to be a shift, or on those days civil servants who go to work, it's going to be a perfect workers free day? Or 3 days, some persons will go, 2 days, the other persons that didn't go for the other 3 days will go. They should explain this thing to us, and this thing will reduce the productive capacity of the state. It will reduce IGR for goodness sake. If you want to do, think out of the box. They can do this. They are special advisors, they are big here. Let them do their job for goodness sake. Reduce. People can't even feed themselves. Why can you not reduce our local food? Give farmers fertilizer for free. Give them plants to produce. Reduce the cost of bringing food from the north to the south. Reduce cost of transporting food. There are things that you do that will push it on everybody. But the middle, the average, everybody will feel it. You don't just care for the civil servant and leave the rest. All
right, Miro. Thank you very much. Let's hear from Godfrey and Braid, and then we join my guest who is waiting on the line. Hello, Godfrey from Aba Road. Good morning.
Good morning, CMA. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you ask me, I will say immediately, let Nigeria sell all their refineries. Let them sell all of them. Sell it out, recoup modular refineries. Think the ones that are very serious, use that money to help them build modular refineries immediately for them to come on stream. We don't need palliative. We don't need cushioning. We don't need any other thing. We need fuel. That's what we need. Fuel at a very affordable price. Once there is fuel, the economy will cushion itself. There's nothing that government can do to tell you. Is it not them that are using 177 billion to feed school children that are at home during COVID? So where are they going to cushion anything? Let them sell off all these things that are giving us problems, and then bring the money, get the people that have given certificates for modular refineries, and then let it come on stream. Let them also, just like they have Dangote to build that one. They say they give me all manner of tax holidays and all that. Let them give it to other people. When these refineries are everywhere, we don't need cushioning anywhere.
All right, Godfrey, thank you. Braid is in Mile 1. Hello, Braid.
Yeah, good morning, my brother.
Morning to you.
My name is Chief Comrade. I am Braid.
Go on.
Yeah, the truth is that for me, the government should remove various taxation, and also there should be constant power supply, at least not less than 20 hours. And also, for me, I don't subscribe to the government trimming down the days of work. Because if you trim it down, would it affect the judiciary? Would it affect the nurses and doctors? Would it affect the police, the Nigerian army, and the other arms, the prison? Because people will go for litigation. Those people that have criminal matter, what will happen? There will be a setback. And it won't be fine at all. And also, the fire service, what will happen to them? Let us look at it. Make a military transport system for the people that can cushion the effect of subsidy. I think that will go down.
All right, Braid.
For you to reduce the number of days in the week.
Thank you very much, Braid.
That does not hold water.
All right, even for the transportation, when I think about it, if you bring free buses, you're not going to bring free food in the market, because the transport I don't pay today, I would have to use it and buy something in the market, which I'm going to buy at a very high price. And there's no how you're going to get completely free transport. You're still going to need keke at one point. You're still going to pay for transport. You're still going to have to pay rent, which will be very expensive. You're still going to have to go to the market. And there are other things around your life that's still going to take the same money that the government thinks it is saving because it provided free buses. Let's hear from my guest, the retired civil servant, in the next couple of minutes. Mr. Dike, thank you for your time. Good morning.
Good morning, my dear.
Let's just get straight to the point. We know that you've been in the civil service. You're retired now. I mean, you rose to the point of director even at the Rivers State Ministry of Information and Communications as far back as 2013. When you look at your time in the ministry and you look at what we have now, some people have said, well, it's not as though civil servants even go to work every day. Some people think that the civil service space is even overcrowded, and the emphasis on just trying to cushion the impact of these subsidy removal on civil servants without considering a lot of other parts of the economy that actually many would argue creates the resources that the civil servants are recording as IGR is pretty unfair. What's your thought about it? Reduction of work days. Should that be something to be looked at?
Well, Andrew, thank you very much. Thank you for listeners. I want to just take off from what you've asked me now, a kind of comparing the civil service we left behind in 2013 and what it is now. I must say that, quite modestly anyway, that it is a totally different ballgame. Because each time some of us who retired back then go back to secretariat now, for example, which is the clearinghouse of the entire system, civil service system, it is just like a shadow. And I want to say, as a Rivers person, we are saddened. We are totally saddened by what it is. But the comfort now, the comforting part of the situation is that the man in the saddle now, His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State, Sam Fubara, is from the system. He was in the system even before we left. So he knows the difference between what he used to be and what it is now. We are praying earnestly for him to take the civil service back to what it used to be.
do.
So would you encourage 3 days? Many are saying we should copy Edo State and reduce working days to 3 instead of 5. Is that something you would encourage?
I will never encourage such a thing as an individual and as a product of the civil service. All over the world, in all the advanced democracies of the world, there is no democracy that is advanced that toys with the civil service or the police service. It is only in this country and perhaps other third world countries in Africa that the civil service is toyed with. And I want to say very clearly that it's a very, very unfortunate situation.
What measures would you think for short term?
Even if you had, yes,
for short term purposes.
If I had the Councillor Osagie very well, you see that the governor of Edo State didn't quite think through it before he made the pronouncement. He didn't quite think through it because as we speak now, the directive is not in operation. They've not even decided whether it will be Monday and Tuesday. Then people will come to work in Edo State from Wednesday to Friday. It has not been decided. It's not even in operation. So it's a situation of applying political solution to a serious governance situation. So if you look at it, the least you would have done to remedy the situation would have been to provide buses to bring civil servants to work. Because even the Bible, any system that diminishes the values of work is going to go into extinction. It's a matter of time. Because if you don't work, even the Bible, even God himself, we should borrow a leaf now from God. God himself said that he worked for 6 days and had rest only 1 day. In the book of Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, verse 10 and 11, the Bible states clearly that if you don't work, you should not eat. The justification for salary is work, not just working, hard work. Why is the system not working? Why should civil servants be asked to stay? Look at the manner where they lost. I totally agree. I align my thoughts with the economists you have spoken to before and Osagie himself.
All right, let's hear from some Rivers people so you can respond. I'm pretty sure they would have their concerns and questions, so you can respond. Looking at the fact that you've been in the civil service for a longer time and got into the highest ranks, that one of the, if not the highest, you were a director at your time. And it means that you have access to certain information and how these things are run. Let's just hear from the caller first, and then we'll get your response to what they have to say. 0817-923-0003. 0817-923-0007. On WhatsApp, Edo State is already paying 40,000 minimum wage. Governor February won't issue promotion letters here in Rivers State to civil servants. That is a worry. This person says, good morning. The issue on ground is not affecting civil servants alone. Nigeria government is a problem. Temple is in Mile 1 Park. Hello, Temple.
Good morning, the very distinguished Andrew once again.
All right, straight to the point, please.
Yes, I think for me, this issue of reduction, I don't think it's a welcome development, and it shouldn't be a good idea. Because they will tell me there is no workload for them, for the civil servants in the office. And when we look about some governors promising this subsidy, my brother, for me, it is not a very realistic one. Because some of the governors are defending, it's based on this subsidy removal money, that their allocations will be increased. For me, I think if this will be a very, tangible and reasonable, a project we all will undertake. If the federal government can tell us, okay, let's get this 1 year or 2 years, our refineries will be working. Those of them that want to dive into modular refineries will give in license and go ahead. Why the Dangote refinery will be working? I think there will be some kind of competitiveness. And this issue of where we reduce some level of, will I call it a DRS minimum? Because
All right, Temple.
Everything for us.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Bori now.
What somebody will bring to us.
Let's go to Bori. We got your point already. Letambari on the line. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew, and good morning to your guests.
All right, go ahead, Letambari. Straight to the point, please.
Thank you. When I even hear about this 40,000 naira of a team, it looks as if we don't want to progress. Because I want to appeal. Even let me ask you, if you even as a single man as you are, what can 40,000 naira buy? As a single man, you don't stay alone. You have brothers. Don't think because he's not a family man, he doesn't have a wife, that he has no responsibility. He has brothers and families. He has girlfriends. There are times when a worker can even have the time to go and have a phone. What do you spend? You have friends all over there. You can give them 1,000.
All right, Letambari, we get your point clearly. Thank you very much.
You are working.
Although singlehood should not have come in the conversation, but Letambari, thank you very much. Everybody's affected by this. I think it's the